Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to continue exploring Tesla's full self-driving technology, its progress, and its limitations in Melbourne, Australia. Today, we've got a drive from Springvale to an inner east suburb in Melbourne. So, as one of you lovely viewers pointed out, Springvale and Dandenong is not Western Melbourne. No, it's Southeast Melbourne. So you must please excuse my lack of Melbourne knowledge. I've only been here for a couple of months, so I'm still getting used to the names, the locations, the driving conditions. Um, there's a lot I'm still learning about this very, very nice city that you guys have here. I haven't even been to the city yet with the Tesla, so I'm looking forward to bringing you some coverage of how full self-driving operates in the city with the hook turns, etc. From my understanding, it does a pretty good job. So yeah, look out for that in the future. Yeah, just down these roads, one thing I wanted to talk about is the spatial awareness that full self-driving has. If you saw back there, I know I was a bit late commenting on it, but it does a really good job of figuring out where the car is on the road and where other cars are on the road. Like I have no fear of it having my side mirrors knocked off or anything like that. It's really, really good at predicting where it's going to go, and it's predicting other cars and where they're going, and just how much space is in between, because people have a lot of trouble trying to see where the front of their car is, where the rear of their car is, and where the sides of their car is, including myself. So that's something Tesla does really well. And also, with this version, I don't know if we've talked about it before, but full self-driving here in Australia, I think came out, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think September 2025. So that's only about a bit more than 7 months. Well, actually, but maybe a bit more, but you get what I'm saying. Hasn't been out that long in Australia, whereas in America, I'm not sure if you guys follow what's going on there, but they're already on version 14.3, which just dropped a few days ago since recording this. We're only on version 13 point something. So they've already had, I think, two iterations of version 14, version 14.2 and version 14.3. And both of those I've just been consuming a lot of content on what those versions were able to offer drivers, full self-driving drivers in America. Seen them go through multiple like problem spots, actually work them out a lot quicker and a lot better. And like one of you commented earlier, yeah, I can't wait for version 14 to hit Australia. Because for me, it's already at a level where I feel completely comfortable letting it take over and drive me everywhere. I mean, that's what I do. 99% of my drives are full self-driving. I'm not just using it because it's a gimmick. I'm actually using it because it's a lot less stressful. It's a lot safer to drive with full self-driving than it is, I believe, driving normally. And I see it on the roads, with the amount of people being a bit unaware of what's going on in their surroundings, etc. Yeah, a friend of mine actually said, he asked me if I enjoyed using full self-driving, especially on longer trips. And it's not even just I enjoy it, it's so much more relaxing. Like, you don't get the fatigue. There's no fatigue build up in your feet. And this sounds so minor, but driving is it is actually a really draining activity to do mentally. It tires you out mentally. It fatigues you on so many levels, not just your body, but your mind. And with full self-driving, especially on long drives, I just don't feel that. So in this situation right now, I'm trying to turn left to get into the left lane. I've started prompting full self-driving to try and get into the lanes a lot earlier. I know a lot of you guys who are also using technology, the full self-driving technology, have encountered this. You really need to right now prompt it to get into the right lane, or sorry, the correct lane, much farther in advance than it actually is doing at the moment, because it seems to miss out on turning appropriately when it needs to because it's in the wrong lane. Like you saw it in my last video. At the roundabout, it went to overtake. Instead of just staying in the right lane, it went to overtake in the left lane. And then before it knew what was going on, it was past the point where it could actually get into the right lane to turn right at the roundabout. So that's not a safety concern. That's just quality of life. Being able to predict much earlier when to get into the lane, when to change lanes, get into the appropriate lanes, that would be such a big deal. I'm not sure if the newer versions will allow us to do that, or if it allows itself to do that, but it would be much appreciated if it did that a lot earlier. So as you can see, yeah, I've just prompted it to get into the left lane much earlier than what it needs to, but it's just better to be safe than leave it to chance. Yeah, one thing, I hope my microphone is coming through a lot clearer. I've made a few tweaks here and there. Let me know in the comments if I'm coming through a lot clearer. I'm still learning to use this video editing software and still setting up my hardware. So I'm still making small improvements that I'd like to, make the quality and the audio of these videos just slightly better for you guys, the viewers, just to make it better. Yeah. As you can see, it's also a really nice day here in Melbourne. Again, the sun is out. It's blue skies, and really good conditions for driving. Not to say it's not ideal, not to say adverse weather conditions affect full self-driving, but it's just a lot nicer driving around when it's not raining, and it does rain a lot here, as anyone who lives in Melbourne would know. Also in the future, I'm going to try and do a few video editing things to make that center console a lot bigger. How do I say this? I want to get a camera which points at the console, or maybe use some sort of technology to get the console as a HD image on the screen, so you can actually see what's actually coming up on the screen much clearer, because I think that's really important to see what full self-driving is actually seeing. Right now, you can see the center console. Yeah, you can zoom in, pause it, but it'd be nice if it was more pronounced on the screen. So hopefully in the future, look for that upgrade. We've got, I think this was a no intervention drive, but there's a really interesting point coming up to this set of traffic lights. As you can see, there's two cars, left, right, middle lane empty. Tesla pulls into the middle lane at this set of traffic lights. And so my partner, my wife, is in the car with me at the moment, and we were actually talking about what happened here. So previously, at this exact set of traffic lights, Tesla did the same maneuver. So there was cars on the left, cars on the right, and a spare lane in the middle. And instead of just staying behind staying in the left lane and staying behind that vehicle, it intuitively looked around, saw that was no vehicles, saw that lane was free, and pulled into it. And that's what a human would do. It's really, really intuitive, and this is really important here. It actually, as you can see, the car on the left, speed up, boom. We actually speed up much quicker to the speed limit to really pull ahead of all the traffic, which is exactly what I would do if I was driving. The safest place to be is ahead of all the traffic. As you can see with my hands, I'm actually pointing that out. So it was really, I really liked that. I really liked that maneuver it pulled off. It was very human-like. It used the car's full suite of abilities, power, the acceleration, instant torque, and really got ahead of the traffic, which is, I was actually really, really impressed. It was the first time that I'd experienced that. So it was really good to get on camera and show you guys how full self-driving operates, how it thinks, and how it's becoming more and more human-like, I think. I'm not sure whether my actions or my videos are uploading and fixing it, but whatever's happening, it's all good, and I'm enjoying every minute of showing you guys and bringing this content to everybody's awareness. An interesting topic I wanted to bring to your guys' attention is autonomous driving, which is obviously what I'm doing right now. But to be specific, how many autonomous rides are being undertaken in America right now? So, what I'm talking about are paid autonomous rides in the USA. So, I don't know if you guys know, but take a guess. How many autonomous rides do you think right now in 2026 are being taken every week in the USA alone? If you don't know, I'm going to give you some crazy statistics right now. So, autonomous drives are predominantly carried out by Waymo, which is like a company under the Google umbrella corporation, not the umbrella corporation for some Resident Evil, just Google corporation. They run and put all the sensors on those Waymo vehicles. And so there are currently 500,000 autonomous rides. That's the number of autonomous rides in the USA every week, paid. So I'm not sure what the overheads or the margins are. Google doesn't share that information freely because we know the on-road costs for the Waymo's vehicles is quite high. But you could just do your own, back of the napkin metric or calculations. That's a lot of rides every week. That's a lot of recurring revenue every single week, all being taken over by one company at the moment, Waymo. And so 500,000 rides, that's a lot. And the next statistic is even crazier. Do you know how many autonomous vehicles Waymo operates in the USA? It's 3,000. So with just a fleet of 3,000 autonomous vehicles, they're carrying out 500,000 autonomous paid ride-hail, taxi, whatever services in America every week. Like, those numbers are staggering. Think about this. 3,000 vehicles, 500,000 rides. And now they have no competition at the moment. And this brings me to my next point about the potential behind Tesla's full self-driving rollout. 3,000 vehicles, I'm pretty sure Tesla can manufacture, and I guess this is their plan ultimately, to manufacture like thousands of their cybercabs in a single day. Just think about that. I can't do the math. My brain and most humans' brains can't really do what do they call it? Where things just go, calculations just go really, really crazy. Exponential growth. That's the word. Exponential growth. Everyone talks about it all the time, So 3,000 rides, 500,000, 3,000 vehicles, 500,000 rides. If there's a company out there, let's say Tesla, who can produce thousands more of these robotaxis for a fraction of the cost that it costs other vehicle manufacturers, because you got to think about it, the costs of putting a Waymo vehicle on the roads is approximately more than $100,000 with all the radars and sensors and whatever. The car is produced they buy it from a certain third party party. But if Tesla can get thousands of these vehicles on road, dominate 25 cities, which they plan to do, that's what we've heard, 25 cities all at once. I think the rollout's not going to be... We have a few places in Austin right now which are conducting Tesla autonomous rides, but it's a handful. It's nothing meaningful. It's not even close to 1,000 vehicles, I don't think, from my understanding. But think about it. If this company does manage to successfully pull this ramp up successfully, we're looking at and potentially having tens of thousands of vehicles for a very low cost. Now, all of a sudden, flooding major cities, like 25 major cities, the top 25 major cities in America, the numbers really start to get out of control. So it'll be interesting moving forward to see what Tesla does. I guess this sort of information does tie into full self-driving, and I'm talking about it because people are asking me, like, what's the reason behind full self-driving? Is it just to make things safer? Nah, that's not just it. Like, these companies aren't pursuing autonomous driving. I mean, it is safer. Don't get me wrong. It's safe. It's so safe. But that's not just the only reason. Like, there's also a monetary reason behind it. The estimates for autonomous ride-hail services, estimates I've heard are like globally, it's trillions of dollars worth of potential market revenue. So we'll just have to wait and see, because at the moment, Google's not rolling out like 3,000 vehicles. They've had that many vehicles for a long time. They've had a lot. They've actually started. Waymo started operating, I think, nearly 10. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's either 10 years or more than 10 years ago, and they've only got 3,000 vehicles on the road. So yeah, the potential for whatever's to come with Cybercab and Robotaxi, wow, I'm looking forward to it. Up ahead, we don't have an intervention per se, but it's something that has come up, and I have talked about it in the past. For some reason, the car starts slowing down. Oh, actually, no, it goes to 40. That's right. I'm sorry, the car that slows down to 40, and I was like, why is it at 40? We're not in 40. As you can see on the right, someone had set up some cones to do some road work, and you can see the roadwork signs clear as day on the right. So in this moment, I was like, oh no, it's back to its old tricks of going through 40 zones when it's, not in a school zone. But I was actually wrong there. The car was able to see much farther down the street and adjust to the road conditions much quicker than I could. Probably because I was talking. That's a possibility. Maybe I was daydreaming, but most likely I was talking. And that's really common as well. Like, a lot of people talk in their cars, not just to their passengers, but, they're on the phone, they're using hands-free. So it's just, it's interesting to see, like, having another set of eyes and ears or whatever, cameras on the road to pick up things that you probably would not be picking up. But like, that's the advantages of full self-driving. I can sort of like not be so aware. I can, have a full discussion with my friends or family in the car at the same time, and not have to worry about paying full attention to the road. Though I am paying full attention to full self-driving. Don't worry. I'm not just daydreaming. Another thing, maybe I've mentioned it before, but the reason I bought a Tesla and paid for the full self-driving was the safety aspect of not just full self-driving, but of the actual vehicle itself. Australia has this like ANCAP safety rating system. And if you go onto that website and look up the 2026 Tesla Model Y, you'll see that like it scored the highest possible score of like 5 stars on ANCAP rating. I think the lowest score off the top of my head was like 88% for auto driver or auto accident assisted stuff. So that's like the technology behind, preventing an accident. That was like 88%. Everything else was like over 90%. And that's what comes down to it is like the crash, the ability to like keep its occupants safe and keep pedestrian or whoever else you get into a car crash with safe. So it's with the NCAP rating for the Model Y, it wasn't just safe for everybody in the car. It was actually safer. I think it scored 95% for child occupants. So the car is actually safer for your child than it is for an adult passenger. That's just through a range of like driver assistant, crash points, safety airbags. Apparently, it's just got so many good airbags, and it's like it has consistently been rated like one of the safest cars in Australia. And so, if you have kids or you have a family to think about, I wonder if that plays into your choice as a consumer. Because for me, it 100% did. Like, I wasn't just looking for a Tesla. I was looking for the safest vehicle on the road for my family. Um, I'd done the homework, I'd done the research, and it was like it just consistently was the best car. And that doesn't really get talked about a lot in the media, or no one really talks about how safe the vehicles are. So I think I would like to reiterate like how safe the vehicles are and how um, strongly Tesla feels about safety. All these years following the company and what it's doing, it's consistently pushed safety to be its number one priority. There's a lot of data which backs this up. I've talked about the insurance, but there's also like Tesla's own published data about their recorded amount of kilometers per incidents or per crashes, which they provide to NHTSA. And I guess you could take the cynical view and be like, oh, well, they're scrubbing the data. They're presenting fake whatever data to NHTSA, which is the National Highway Transit Authority. But then I guess if you're going to have that view, then you have to apply that same logic to every other car manufacturer. And you have to just say the same thing. Every other car manufacturer is feeding false data to these regulators, which, they have been done. Like, there are car companies that have done it in the past. So I would rather take Tesla's word, like that they are putting safety first. You can look at independent ratings like NCAP, and you can concur that Teslas are just so significantly safer, not just through the technology, but through the manufacturing process, through the rigorous testing they put the cars through. So for me, it was like I could have bought a much more expensive car, and it just didn't make sense. I looked at other cars, especially SUVs. I looked at them, and I wasn't really drawn to. It wasn't just the looks; it was also the safety, the full electric vehicles, the range, everything like that. It all played a part into my choice of going with a Model Y Tesla. And I tell you what, I'm not in the least. I do not regret the decision at all. It is such a nice car, inside and out. It is really a pleasure to drive, especially with full self-driving. And to add to that, I also wanted to get a vehicle which was going to be able to drive me into the future in 5 years' time or so. Well, not drive me into the future, but be able to be driven in an autonomous vehicle in the future. Because right now, I just don't see any other cars having the capability to actually all future-proofing for the future. Like in 5 years' time, if autonomous is just completely rolled out, then I want this car to be able to drive me places, and that influenced my decision for buying a Tesla with this technology. So if you guys are still watching, we're going to come up to what I talked about earlier in the video about the full self-driving's spatial awareness. So down this road is quite common. There are cars parked on the left. You probably would have seen it in my previous videos. So usually the person, I'm not sure who is right away here, but they'll go into the left lane, let the person pass. But you'll see in this point right now that Tesla sees this vehicle coming. It sees the vehicles on the left, boom, it passes through. So it was able to make the calculation that this car on the left is parked, this car is coming on the right. If that car on the right continues coming forward in a straight line, we have plenty of space to go past each other. And it took that really confidently. I was really impressed with how, I'm constantly impressed how well the car is able to predict the spaces between vehicles or gaps and take them really confidently. Because for me and most people, no, we would pull to the left, let them pass, because we're unaware of the dimensions of our vehicle. I said that earlier in the video. People don't know where their bonnets are. People don't know where their rear is. People don't know where the size of their car is. But full self driving with the cameras, wow, like that was a perfect example right there. Let me know what you would have done. Would you have pulled into the left? I would have. Anyway, we are nearing the end of my video. So thanks guys for watching. If you've watched this far, it's another special Friday upload. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did talking to you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.